Hello and welcome back to Overseas Auto Reviews. Here I have this 2022 Ram 1500 Limited EcoDiesel brought to you by Dwayne Lane's Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram of Everett. Now without further ado, let's break this car down and complete a review. But before I do that, if you could please subscribe to the channel, that'd be a great help. Here we are on the front end on the 2022 Ram 1500 Limited, and you can see that there is a lot of chrome on the vehicle and that the vehicle is really wide. Now speaking of chrome, if you do not like the look of chrome and you want a blacked out truck, you can purchase the Nightfall Edition group with your special order, and then that will turn every chrome piece on the truck black. There's actually an example right there on a Laramie Sport. That option is $3,200 though, and if you really aren't too dissatisfied with your chrome look, then I really think that this look suits the trim level. You can see that this chrome bumper is really wide and it does give it a stated Ram Limited look. The lower portion of it does have chrome toe hooks just in case you do get stuck and you'd be towed out. There is black accents with this chrome, with this lower grille, the upper grille, and the parking sensors as well. The parking sensors are very, very important with a trunk of this size, and I'll show you how those work later on. You can see on the ends where the two of the parking sensors are, there are the fog lights. This vehicle does sit pretty high off the ground. No worries, because this vehicle has air suspension and you can lower it down. In fact, you can actually lower it down with the key itself. You can see the Ram logos over here. You also have a front view camera, which is also very important. I'll show you that with the parking sensors. The headlights here are LEDs and the turn strip is amber. I think it looks good. I like the amber touch, especially with this blue paint, which is a $100 option. Speaking of the lights, these are steering input base, so if you do take a turn, the lights will turn to give you most illumination of the road. Let's get underneath this engine bay. Underneath the hood, we have this rather inconspicuous looking 3-liter turbocharged V6 diesel engine. This does not produce a lot of horsepower, 260 horsepower to be exact, but it is a diesel engine and horsepower is not what diesel is for. This does produce 480 pound-feet of torque, and I'd say that's actually a really good number for a truck of this segment. It's a 1500, not a 2500 or 3500. This engine is mated to a ZF 8-speed automatic transmission, the 8HP75 more specifically. Now, if you think that Dodge and Ram transmissions are rather unreliable, that's not the case, because this transmission is used in modern BMWs and Rolls-Royces as well. So a lot of R&D and quality checks have been gone through in the transmission to make sure that it is up to par. Now, if you think that's still not enough reasoning, well, Rolls-Royce uses 6.75 liter twin turbocharged W12 motors, and BMW also has the M5 CS, which has the same transmission. Now, you might be thinking, well, what is the rear axle? This does have the upgraded 3.92 axle ratio, and this does come standard with a 3.21, but there is a $95 option, which gives us the 3.92. Now, you might be thinking what the difference is between the 3.2. Usually the lower the gearing ratio for the rear axle, the better fuel economy you get, because the engine stays in a lower RPM. With this higher gearing ratio, you do get a better truck for towing and acceleration. Now, you might be thinking, how much can I really tow with this diesel V6 that's only a 3-liter? Well, the payload capacity is 2,300 pounds and the towing capacity is 12,560 pounds, which I think is quite impressive from a 3-liter V6. Let's get on to the side and then eventually the back as well. Here we have the wheels. These are the 22 by 9 inch polished and painted wheels. These wheels are absolutely massive, and I think they actually look good with the vehicle. Now, you might be thinking that this vehicle is actually really high off the ground based on how much distance we have between the top of the wheel and the fender arch, which is actually a wide body fender technically. Now, this vehicle does have air suspension, and I think it is a must-have feature on the Ram. Now, speaking of the suspension, I can actually lower the suspension with the key. All you have to do is press this button right here twice, and it should lower the suspension if the vehicle is unlocked. You can lower it to multiple different levels. And I think it's actually a really good feature. And the same button lifts the vehicle up as well. The overall side profile of this vehicle, especially on this front end, is really stated, and it's very, very muscular, which I love about this generation of Ram vehicles. Now, once we do turn the camera over like this and make the lens a bit wider, you can see the entire side of this Ram. This beautiful blue color here, $100 option. I think it's well worth it. One, because it's unique. I haven't seen this on any Ram on the road, based on where I live in Washington State. You do have the chrome running trim, which does go across both doors and just a bit onto that rear bed fender. You also have the Ram badge, and inside this chrome trim there is Limited spelled out. You have these really blocky door handles, which does have keyless entry integrated into it as well. Once you open the door, the electronic running boards do pop out. Very helpful. I stood on them, shake them around a bit. I'm 180 pounds, didn't move at all. Once you close the door, they should retract in a few seconds. There you go. Let's get onto that rear end, because there's something special about it. Here's the special feature. That's $200, and I think that every Ram should have it. It does eliminate some of your bed space, especially since this is the 5'7" bed. I still think it's a bit worth it. Just reduces some of your width. Now, you do have a keyhole right here. You can push this button to open what Ram calls the Ram box. Now, this actually can act as a cooler as well, but it's a really good place to store your things if you don't just want to throw them into your bed. And well, if you have a firearm for hunting, you can also throw it in here. Groceries will fit just fine in here, and some other additional belongings that are of value to you can be locked inside here, because there is a lock button right here, and the vehicle does have to be unlocked for this button to work and open the Ram box. Now, this is a diesel vehicle, and of course it does have a good range. This does get 21 in the city and 29 miles per gallon on the freeway. This does have the additional option of a 33-gallon fuel tank, which will give you up to 957 miles in the most ideal condition, which I think is absolutely insane, especially since this is a optimal road trip vehicle. This Ram does have the trailer tow package, and in that package, the trailer can be connected to the Ram, and the computer on the Ram can also regulate the trailer braking. So if you do brake the truck and you need to come to a stop, obviously, the brakes on the trailer, if the trailer has them, will work in unison with the vehicle to provide a better stopping distance. This also gives you a trailer loading assist in the center console on the Ram, and also gives you a better view of your trailer as well. Here we are on the rear end on the Ram 1500. You have this chrome lower bumper with the black plastic pieces to protect it on the top. With the trailer tow group, you also have where you plug your trailer into. We have this hexagonal Ram badge along with the 4x4 badge on the right, and the Limited chrome badge on the left. You also have the LED rear taillights, which look beautiful in my opinion. Overall, a really beautiful rear end design. You also have the backup camera over here. You also have a dual exhaust. Let's open up this rear end and let all the water drop down from the rain. We have this 5.7-inch bed. Again, the 2,300 pound payload capacity in this. This is lined with Duraflex. You can get a delete, which will save you $200 on the vehicle itself. You also have bed illumination and places where you can strap things down so they don't move around. You could definitely put some nets in here as well. Now let's climb in and do that trunk test. Yep, I fit in here perfectly fine. I was unable to get this tonneau cover up because the latches are latched down very, very hard, and I did not want to break the tonneau cover, so no risk with that. This does fold up. This is a tri-fold Mopar tonneau cover. Definitely worth it if you want to conceal your things. I think it's always worth to have concealment in your vehicles. Let's get into the rear seats. Here we are in the rear seats on the 2022 Ram 1500 Limited. Now, you wouldn't expect a pickup truck to be luxurious, but this is exactly that. I'd say that this is the S-Class of the pickup truck segment. You have these black natural leather seats. These smell really good. They are actual leather. There's actually a care pamphlet right over here behind the passenger seat, which tells you how to take care of your limited leather seats. Now these do feel really good, have really nice cushioning, butt cushioning and back cushioning as well. You can see that my comfort here is very nice. The seat itself is extremely wide, and I have lots of knee room, around 4 to 5 inches, and a lot of headroom as well, almost 6 inches of headroom, I'd say. Now you also have this center console, which does act as a center chair as well. You get the large storage area, as well as 2 medium-sized cup holders. These do also come with the child seat clamps, which is always a nice feature. Now, one thing about Rams that is always great is that these side chairs do fold up. All you have to do is push a latch, and they come up like so, and they give you more storage area on the floor itself. And there's a little cubby to store things that you don't want to show people. I think it is a nice integration and allows for better security and peace of mind when you are going anywhere. The center console right over here is very nice. You have 2 separate vents. You also have heated and cool seats. I don't think many luxury cars even have cooled seats in the rear, but this Ram 1500 does, and it's not as expensive as those luxury cars are. You have USB-A ports, ones for each side, and 2 USB-C ports as well. There are also 2 cup holders over here in the back. The door trim itself is actually quite beautiful. You have this cowboy-like stitching on the door padding. You have this nice leather grab handle, the activation switch for the mirror, and the chrome door handle, which is absolutely beautiful. The lower portion, we have a large cubby, a smaller cubby on the center, and we have the large sub for the Harman Kardon 19 speaker system, which sounds absolutely phenomenal. I've been accustomed to Bang & Olufsen as well as Harman Kardon in my vehicle reviews, and I think that these are definitely the more premium sound system that they offer. Let's get on to the front end and let me show you the features. All right, here we are in the front seats on the 2022 Ram 1500 Limited. The first thing I wanted to point out with the interior is the luxury appointments. Mainly this wheel. There is this freshly smooth, I believe it's plastic trimmed wood on the top and bottom, and the rest is leather wrapped. We get the buttons for the hands-free calling system and the center screen options right over here, along with the adaptive cruise control buttons over here, and the gear limit and increase and decrease for the paddle shifters as well. Because the reason that the paddle shifters are here, and not behind the wheel, is because you can skip and pause and rewind the radio track or the music track with this right side button, and then the music controls with the left. The entire dashboard is wrapped in this soft touch leather. The upper portion does feature open pore wood with white lines. The side of the Uconnect 12-inch display system, which I will be going over, has this sort of metal mesh design going on. The lower portion does have your trailer steering and trailer attachment features as well. You can have the air suspension lift and lower functions on this side, the traction control off button, the parking assist off buttons over there. The top of the screen has the lane departure off warning, the hazards, and the parking assist. This is perpendicular and parallel as well. You pull up next to a spot, press this button on, and it should help you park. The climate control features are on the sides, and they're very easy to use. It will pop up a screen for you once you do turn the vehicle on. The right side does feature this nice storage area, which I do like. You press the button, it opens it up. I would personally put the vehicle registration in there. It's nice to have it in an easily accessible area. You have this rear view mirror, which is actually doubled as a screen. So once I do turn the truck on, the seat goes forward, and you can see that the rear view mirror is a camera system. The center console does have 2 portions, one with a USB-C and a shallow cubby. The second part does have some mathematical equations and a very deep storage spot. Make sure you do not fill over the full line, because this center console additional piece does move forward and backwards, which does also host the cup holders and a additional tray piece where you can store either your keys or some pens or tools. There's also a tray for pens. The vehicle does also come with a home style outlet on the bottom and a dual wireless charging setup in the area right over here. You can also store maybe your wallet if it's a smaller one in this little shallow area right over here. 2 USB-A ports, 2 USB-C ports, and a traditional aux cord input port right over there. Now with this drive select system, a lot of people dislike it, but I'm personally not too bothered by it. You just put your foot on the brake and then you can change all of your other things. It does say the tailgate is open, so we'll simply close that. The vehicle is in park and the parking brake is also on. You now have your center apps. You have the Sirius XM, you have the driver heated seat and ventilated seat, along with the passenger heated seat and ventilated seat. The steering wheel is also heated, and you might think that just because this is wood, it probably doesn't heat up, but in these two spaces right over here specifically, the wood piece does heat up, along with everything leather on the wheel that is heated. You do have the surround cameras, which I did say I would show you. Right now you have the backup camera and the upper camera. The tailgate is currently open, so that's why the tailgate camera is facing all the way down. This is actually quite helpful for if you do want to attach a trailer and its attachment point is rather long. You do have other additional features with this camera: the back camera, the front camera, which was attached on the grille, and the overhead camera. This does fill in once the tailgate does close. You also have your app manager and the mirror dimmer. Obviously that's when you don't have this camera system attached. When you do go over, you have the C controls for all the other things, the audio settings, which can also be touched when you are in either the radio or a Bluetooth connected device. You have a very easy to use radio system, and you can also easily change between your aux cord, your Bluetooth, and your radio. Going back into this home screen, if you did want to cool the temperature down, really easy to use. Fan speed increase, decrease. You can also change the mode as to where the air is coming. You also have the ventilation, which is also helpful if there is something going on. Once we go into camera settings, there is a lot of things to play with here. Some things I did like are the suspension settings, as there is an aero mode on the freeway, lowers down so you get the best gas mileage. Flashlights when it does lower, so if you are lowering the vehicle like this, the lights could flash, but this setting is off. I'm not going to change them because this is a dealer vehicle. Seats and comfort is always great. This passenger seat and driver seat do move backwards when the vehicle turns off to allow you to get in and out of the truck quite easily. The engine off options, all of these other settings are seen in this display over here. Now if we did put the vehicle into drive and the tailgate's open, you can see that there is a different screen on the left side. That is for your quick information: engine temperature, transmission temperature, tire pressure, fuel economy. You can also see your radio and directions if you are using the built-in navigation system over here. This vehicle does have Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, so those will definitely work on this really large screen over here. I think that the interior on this is absolutely great. It does have a lot of room. You can see that it's really wide. My arm does not go anywhere near that the other side of the window, and this panoramic sunroof also gives us a wide open feel. All you have to do is push that back and it will expose the sun for us. Now, I do think this is a very beautiful vehicle inside and out, and I do want to take you on a drive, so let's do that now. Here we are driving the 2022 Ram 1500 Limited, and right off the bat, the suspension on this vehicle feels really good. Now, just because it is air suspension, some people think that it's going to be too soft, but I think this is on the stiffer side for air suspension. Obviously, you can change air suspension settings in these settings. Here's that rear view mirror in action on the road. Very responsive, good FPS. Here I am merging onto the freeway. It gives an idea of the acceleration, which in my opinion is pretty good. Not as significant as I was expecting. Again, this is 480 pound-feet of torque. I was expecting it to be there, but you do have to put your foot down quite a bit. One thing to note about this Ram is that the accelerator pedal does have a lot of force on it, so you do have to push on it a bit to get it going. I actually kind of like it. I think that more cars should implement this as opposed to a softer, more mushy feeling accelerator pedal. Brake pedal is also nice. It is softer than most vehicles, and that's probably because it's a truck, but it does give you a good feel of the brakes. Wind noise is a lot less than I was expecting it to be. That is because there is noise dampening in the cabin. I have driven a Ram Rebel, which did have a lot more road and engine and wind noise. That's because it did have a 5.7 liter V8 and off-road oriented tires. Wind noise again, it's a boxy vehicle. Expect it to be there, but it's really not that high where it's bothering you. Road noise as well, it's not that high. Overall, I think this is a very nice driving vehicle, definitely more of a truck for long distance driving and towing across the country. You don't want to be talking this off-road, especially because it is a lot of money.
My name's Riley Cunningham. I am a sales consultant here at Dwayne Lanes Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram, and the Ram 1500 Limited EcoDiesel is a very popular model. We get a lot of people who just like to come in and test drive it to see what it's all about. I just this week placed a factory order for someone, and he had come in a few times before, test driven the different models we had to see what he really wanted. But I find that a lot of the customers who are interested in the EcoDiesel and the Limited specifically are pretty particular in what they want, and since it comes at such a high price tag, they tend to go for the factory order or the custom order process so that they can specifically pick every detail that they want. And with the EcoDiesels, they're coming in about 3 to 4 months, which isn't too bad compared to some of our heavy duty trucks and other vehicles that have a longer wait list. And that way you get to specifically pick every feature on the truck, which is really cool. I know that a lot of the clientele who purchase the EcoDiesel Limiteds tend to be either retired or more comfortable, as they have the money to spend on a vehicle like that, but they still need to use it for utilitarian purposes. So they still do a lot of yard projects or, handyman projects, like to remodel little parts of their house or different things. So they need the bed, they need the Ram boxes, they need the different utilitarian purposes that the Ram provides, but they also want the comfort. A lot of people use it if they're hauling a camper or if they're towing a boat long distances, because they want the comfort inside the cab and all the features that it provides, whilst not sacrificing any of the utility. And so that's what a lot of people are attracted to in the Ram 1500 Limited EcoDiesel.
The first competitor is the 2022 Chevrolet Silverado Limited. It does have a similar price tag. Exterior styling is actually not too bad. I do think that the Ram does have more of a road presence and a luxurious presence from the exterior as well, but this does look pretty good. It's more muscular and sporty. Let's look at that interior. Again, not too bad. I do think that the Ram does fare a bit better. I do like the Chevrolet infotainment system better than the Uconnect, but I do have to sit in the Silverado for myself to give my final verdict on this truck. Next would be the 2022 Ford F-150 Limited. This does have, again, a redesigned exterior and interior for the 21 and 22 model years. This doesn't look as good. It looks like the base F-150 XLT. I don't like the styling of this as much as I like on the Silverado or the Ram. Nothing against Ford. I did like the Mach-E, and I do like the Mustangs and the Ford Focus RS. So I have nothing against Fords. It's just that the F-150 isn't there in my eyes in comparison to a Ram or a Silverado. Now let's look at that interior. It does look a bit bland. You do get the advantage of that completely flat center console area. The infotainment system on Fords is a bit confusing for me in comparison to Uconnect and Chevrolet's infotainment system as well. I will also have to sit in the F-150 myself to be able to give a final verdict, but from a simple view standpoint, the Ram does look better in my eyes. And that is the complete review on the 2022 Ram 1500 Limited. Now this vehicle does have every single option on it except for the Nightfall Appearance package. That is around $3,200, so it does put a dent in the price, which as it sits right here, this truck specifically is $76,000. Do I think it's worth the price? Most definitely. I think that this is not only just a pickup truck, but I think it is a luxury vehicle. This is the optimal vehicle for a long distance drive because you really don't feel the truck just gliding across the road. Now, if you are interested in buying a vehicle, most specifically a Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, or a Ram, be sure to visit Duane Lane's Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram, located in Everett, Washington. That is all for today. Please do consider subscribing. Thank you for watching, and remember to keep on driving.